And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today we are talking about the Washington Commanders who punched their playoff ticket after a win against the Atlanta Falcons. And so didn't get a chance to do some videos. I obviously felt under the weather, felt a little bit better. So I wanted to come back and revisit this because this is huge. This is the first time that the Washington Commanders have been in the playoffs since 2020. And this team, it is a special team. And we're going to be talking about the difference between this team and that team. But wanted to go ahead and jump into really the three key takeaways from this game, and starting with team. And so, look, the Washington Commanders team, when you look at just some of the wins that they've had, the way that this team has really had to pull it out, because we know with that Saints game, that came down to a point and the Washington Commanders were able to pull that out, winning that in 20-19. Then also, too, last week going into this game against the Falcons, able to get a last-second score there and winning 36-33. And then this game against the Falcons, we go into overtime, we handle business, get the win there, 30-24. And even looking at some of the losses that the Washington Commanders have had, the close loss against the Dallas Cowboys, I think that is a game in which we really had that one. It was just a matter of kind of making that field goal attempt that probably would have pushed it into overtime and given this team a chance to win the game. The Eagles game, yes, even though the Washington Commanders losing that one 26-18 there was a chance in that game had they been able to stop Saquon Barkley. The Steelers game, I think if Zach Ertz got that first down in that one, that might have been a different story. And the Ravens football game in which we lost, that just came down to just getting the football back. But this team has been able to respond in tough situations, because when you look at the Falcons and the way that they came out, they answered the Washington Commanders after we scored, but then they put up 10 big points in the second quarter, and it was tough for the Washington Commanders to really get some sledding, and then things started to pick up in the third and fourth quarter. Obviously, we took care of business in overtime, and so this team is such a gritty team, and it's a team that the difference between this team and the 2020 team is this team is a team that you believe can actually make some noise in the playoffs. And that is why we are so excited to see this team get to the playoffs. And so next up, the next key takeaway out of this is that Jaden Daniels is that guy for sure. And I just love the fact that the Washington franchise has found a franchise quarterback after watching so many quarterbacks come through the door. We didn't have that franchise quarterback, and I would just wonder, why do we not have a franchise quarterback? And to get Jaden Daniels, you see just how special he was. Look, Jaden Daniels continues to make history. In fact, in this game, he now has 12 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter and overtime, the most by a rookie in NFL history. When you see these type of numbers from Jaden Daniels, his ability to really get this team over the hump in the critical moments, you love this about him. And I just think in this particular game, not only did he dice up the Falcons secondary with the passes, the 227 yards, 24 of 36, at a 75.9 rating, so give the Falcons credit there, but running the football. B-Rob had 60 yards in this game, but a lot of those yards came really on a little bit of a chunk play, and he really wasn't effective, even though he finishes with 4.6 a carry. Really, the running game was Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels was the player that I think in the running game that really gave the body blows to the Falcons and really just kept them on the field, wore them out. And this game, honestly, excuse me, it should have been over in regulation, because had we got the pass attempt that Zacchaeus catches and that counts, and it's not a holding penalty there, that's a touchdown. And I think the Falcons are going to have trouble really answering that, because I talked about this on prior videos that the Falcons are dead last in the NFL as far as fourth quarter scoring here. So I think that the Commanders really could have put the pressure on the Falcons and perhaps ended this thing in regulation. So that is point number two, is that Jaden Daniels is that guy, certainly a franchise quarterback, gets it done in the big moments. He not only leads us in the passing game, but was huge force in the running game, which ultimately led to the time of possession battle where the Washington Commanders win that. Next up, I think another key out of this one is Zacchaeus. And so I think that Zacchaeus, Zach Ertz, those guys really showed up. And so Zacchaeus, it's ironic he was going against his former team because one of his other former teams is the Eagles and his other former team is the Falcons. And so both weeks he's had some very good weeks against these teams. And this week, I thought he was fabulous. I think that he did a terrific job as far as getting separation in the secondary. And I think that there were just a couple plays, or actually one play, where if he would have caught the football, I think that essentially would have probably ended it as well. Just kind of went right through his hands. But Zacchaeus, I think, was just phenomenal as far as getting separation in the middle of the field. And I love his run after catch. He's actually a lot more physical than I anticipated him being as a wide receiver. And so the run after the catch, I think that was special for Zacchaeus. 8 receptions, 85 yards, and a touchdown in this one. And Zach Ertz, I talked about the fact that, yes, he didn't get that 4th down conversion against the Steelers. And I had been talking about Zach Ertz being a really big impact to this team, especially coming back from the concussion. And here it is. You see it a couple weeks later, but Zach Ertz is the type of player with that veteran leadership. Here's a guy that has been to the top of the top. And I think when the moment really mattered the most, he was available, made some huge plays as far as getting the ball into the end zone, really iced this thing. He was player of the game with Jaden Daniels at the end of the national broadcast. So 6 receptions, 72 yards. He averaged 12 yards a catch too as well. So I think he just did a great job as far as just really getting the middle of the field worked for the Commanders. And I think the run after catch was huge. He had one, I think, 37 or 39-yard gain that was really big for the Commanders. Jamison Crowder continues to play well. Here is a guy that he was on the team a while back, left the team, went to the Jets. Now he's back. He's making some plays again. And then Chris Rodriguez and Brian Robinson Jr. chip in a little bit. And so lastly, I think the real key out of this too is defensively. And I know that we give up the 24 points in this one. I know that Michael Penix Jr. really got it going. He threw for, 223 yards in this one. He did have a touchdown, and it was a big touchdown. And he really got Drake London really going in the drive where the Falcons really needed it. But I think that when you look at the defense of the Commanders, there's been 2 weeks in a row that they've been able to really clamp up on the defensive end after getting gashed. Last week, they were able to slow down Saquon Barkley. This week, they're able to slow down Bijan Robinson because you see that Bijan Robinson, he had a big game with the 17 for 90 yards and 5.3 a carry and 2 touchdowns. But in the second half, only 4 carries for 8 yards. And so, look, part of that is coaching, but then you also have to give the defense some credit too as well. They did not let Bijan Robinson get loose, and so that was critical. And we also got another turnover generated in the passing game. Quan Martin, he gets an early interception in this one, and so that was huge for the Commanders to get that interception. Really, I think was a tone setter. And I know that it takes overtime to get this one done, but I really do think that the Washington Commanders could have got this one done in regulation. Either way, they get the win, and this is huge for the Washington Commanders. And so in this next video, we're going to be talking a little bit more about just the Washington Commanders' upcoming week against the Dallas Cowboys, because that is going to be a very important game, because right now the Washington Commanders are 6. They're the 6th seed in the NFC, which means this, if it stopped right now, they would play the Los Angeles Rams. Now, here's the scenario here. With a Washington win and a Green Bay loss, nothing's going to change. Washington stays a 6th seed in this one. If a Washington win, Green Bay win, again, nothing changes there. A win and a Green Bay loss, nothing changes. A win and a win, nothing changes. With a Washington loss and a Green Bay win, however, that changes things. Packers 6th seed, Commanders would be the 7th seed. With a Washington loss, a Green Bay loss, nothing changes. Washington is the 6th seed there. As far as the 3rd and 4th seed, there's a chance that we couldn't take on the Rams because with a Rams win and a Tampa Bay loss, the Rams lock in at 3rd, the Bucks are 4th. With a Rams win and a Bucks win, Rams stay 3rd seed, Bucks stay 4th seed. However, with a Rams loss and a Buccaneers win, then the Rams would be the 4th seed and the Bucks would be the 3rd seed. So whoever that 3rd seed is, that is who the Washington Commanders are going to play. Remember, we struggled with them in week 1. There were still a lot of good takeaways. This football team is a lot different from week 1, but it could be a difference here. And so going into this, bottom line, Washington Commanders take care of business. They stay the 6th seed here and will be going against the Rams. However, if the Cowboys are able to sweep us, then it sets up a rematch with the Eagles unless the Packers lose again in week 18. And so still a lot to play for in week 18. This is Rico. This is Washington Commanders Insider. Let me know what your thoughts are as the Washington Commanders are in the playoffs. I'm under the weather, but it's getting better. And I can't wait to talk some more about these Washington Commanders. I'll see you on the next one. All right. Peace. Go Commanders.